15 left.
I can inform everyone at home that currently John Millman is having an epic encounter with his accreditation, which is stuck around his microphone cord, and it's the 6-love at the moment in the first set to the accreditation. It's absolutely got you befuddled. Let us know when you're back on.
30-15.
This might be going for like your 5-setters here all day.
I'm back and I've conceded defeat. I'm calling up the help. I'm bringing in the heavy artillery.
Tournament hasn't even started yet. Staggering, really, when you look out from our vantage point here. We're high up in the stand at Rod Laver Arena, right at the very back behind Carlos Alcaraz. Stadium looks superb. 3/4 full, maybe even more than that. And it's a practice match, effectively. Exhibition. Extraordinary appetite for tennis. Melbourne sports fans.
Game, Popyrin.
So Alexi, easy service hold to open proceedings. Really enjoyed watching the qualifying too. You know, it was a streaming event only, and in the past, if that at all, family and friends, that was about it. Not much atmosphere for the players, but there's been some epic encounters, and it sort of raises the feeling of it, John. You tell me from a player's perspective, there's so much riding on the qualifying trying to get into the main draw, but when there's crowd and there's cameras and there's all of that, it feels like a real tournament. And some of the emotions we've seen from the players when they've made it through has been heartwarming.
And as it should, these are really, really good players. Only just missing out on main draw in other tournaments, in other years. Nothing irks a qualifying player more than when it's still a bit of a construction zone. That's not the case here at the Australian Open. They've done a fantastic job to have everything up, ready to go for the qualifiers, and the fans have really appreciated that. You can already see the ball flying off Carlos Alcaraz's string just that little bit more. You got to remember, when we saw him play Alex de Minaur here, it was a little bit later in the day, a little more shade over the court. When it's hot like this, it creates more lively conditions. Xavier Malisse on the left there formed a really formidable partnership with Alexi Popyrin, fitness trainer, physio. There's Xavier, semi-finalist at Wimbledon, top Belgian player in his day. Alexi
15,
shares,
30.
well, I should say Xavier shares the coaching duties with Neville Godwin. They split the weeks, about 20, 25 weeks each. Alexi commented to me that it really works because there's no ego whatsoever. Both are happy with their allotted time. And they work well together.
Good anticipation there to move in the right direction for the smash, but wasn't able to get the return. He's learnt a valuable lesson from his opening foray out here against Jannik Sinner, Alexi Popyrin. He wore the all black and he said he was hot and he didn't like it, so he's switched to the light blue. Doesn't quite absorb the heat.
Got him with the depth then. Shot off the line. Created that mistimed forehand. Then both of these players are looking to hunt forehands, especially out of the backhand corner. They do most of their damage when moving around, dictating with that forehand. Carlos Alcaraz's backhand's a little more capable though than Alexi. So I think Alexi, as this match goes on, will look to use his slice.
Alcaraz. 1 game on.
Both players pretty keen to hunt the shade here.
26 degrees. Having a laugh.
Love 15.
Have to be really careful when you spread Carlos Alcaraz out wide to that forehand side. If you're going to go wide, you have to go with a little more quality, giving a good player like that angle off his forehand side.
Love 30. Fifteen, 30. Thirty all. Forty, 30. Popyrin.
There's some good serving there from Alexi. He's not 30 down and drags himself back.
Popyrin
Take
leads
the
2
service
games to 1.
game, 2-1. Players certainly working up a sweat, and Alexi calling for some more towels.
Scan the QR code that's up on the big screens now. Good luck.
The arena showdowns have been raising funds for the Australian Tennis Foundation, giving every kid a chance to play the game. It's the official charity of Tennis Australia and the Australian Open, supporting disadvantaged children and communities through a number of programs, such as the Rally as One, giving every kid the chance to play, no matter the circumstances. Delivers free tennis to kids facing adversity and offers financial support for families who need a little extra help, so kids don't miss out on the chance to play. There's that group from the bushfire affected areas, the Rally as One program, supporting natural disasters, including bushfires and floods. Head to ausopen.com/ATF. Well, there's so Nick didn't get the memo about the weather because he's wearing the biggest puffer jacket you've ever seen, John. It is cold underneath the stadium in the air conditioning. Novak looks very chilled. I saw him doing media interviews earlier.
Yeah, doesn't Novak look smart?
He's had the iron out in the hotel room. Make sure that shirt's freshly pressed. And it's one of the things, and John, you can give us an insight in this. You've been in the shoes when you progress through a tournament. The commitments of the players, not just on the court. I saw Novak doing his interviews, media day, out on the terrace just behind us here. 6 or 7 broadcasters all lined up, all of the journalists ready to ask probably the same questions. He has to repeat them for the best part of an hour, answering question after question after question. Exhausting. And more than that, you know, you play a match, you do the interview on court, you do the host broadcaster, you do the rights holding broadcasters, then you go to the media room. The commitments are significant.
And littered through that are your sponsorship commitments. So I know ASICS, for example, held a day yesterday. Alex de Minaur featured in that one. The more sponsors you have, the more commitments you have around these big tournaments. It's a real balancing act. You obviously want to capitalize on your brand, but you don't want to bite off a little more than you can chew, because time is finite, and over the course of these 2 weeks, it is grueling, both on and off the court.
$40-15.
That was what the crowd was reacting to, seeing that on the big screen.
40-30.
I like that version of tennis from Alexi Popyrin. Can't be dictated to around the court. Even though for a big guy, he moves quite well. The further he gets back, pushed behind the baseline in these grueling exchanges, the odds definitely favour his opponent. Great shot. Xavier liked it.
Yes.
It's normally the side you do approach on to Alexi. Not known for his backhand prowess when passing, but really strong on that outside leg there. That's what generates that power when you have little backswing to work with.
Advantage, Alcaraz.
Good power from the back of the court from Alcaraz. 2-all.
2 games all.
There's a new coaching box set up here at Rod Laver Arena for the tournament where the coaches are down on the court. 4 seats. I need to work out whether that's the same thing happening at Margaret Court, John Cain and other show courts as well, or is it just in here?
I'm unsure about that. We have got the monitors up in our commentary room of Margaret Court. I can see they're not set up here.
Maybe.
Oh, they might be
that
actually.
top corner, yeah.
15 left.
I like it. I think it becomes a bit of a problem for the players if you've got more in your coaching staff or in your player posse, because you're going to have to relegate a few to the stands, and that could create a little bit of tension. Comes as no surprise that both players have elected to take their second serve return nice and early. You can see how early Alcaraz gets in there. He's 2 meters inside the baseline. They're doing that because there's so much heat in the court. There's a lot more bounce. So before it gets too high, they're trying to smother that ball. We'll see what he elects to do here.
You got away with it there, but that's the problem if you're standing up, that it comes at you quickly, and if served as the body as that one was, it can jam you up, but he was able to get it back, and then Popyrin made the error.
And these are the cat and mouse games that you play. Alexi notices that Carlos is taking it early, so on the very next second serve he goes a little bit quicker at the body.
You
reckon, who's she going for?
dance was nearly as good as the dress.
(40-30).
14 men in the Australian contingent through to the main draw. Of course, 3 seeds for the first time in a long time, headed by the Demon at number 8, Popyrin 25, Jordan Thompson 27. We're joined by 8 women. So that fan's got plenty of Australians to cheer for when she's back from Sunday. I have seen the draw for Sunday. I'm not sure if it's public, so I won't go through the list. It probably is, but neither of these two players will feature in the Sunday action. It's a strange start on the Sunday. The first round takes 3 days, doesn't it? So it's sort of spread out a little bit more. And then we settle down into the regular rhythm of a Grand Slam tournament.
Yeah, there's one other slam that does that. They've been doing it for years, actually, is the French Open at Roland Garros.
I like it. I think from a marketing perspective, it makes complete sense to spread across 3 weekends. Just had a good feel an opening Sunday. Clever. Alcaraz with the break, 3-2.
Alexi Popyrin in his sky blue outfit. I was giving him a bit of cheek before. Because he's a Liverpool fan, and it very much looks like he's donning the Manchester City colours.
Indeed.
Can't believe he's done that.
Was he across that?
He didn't like it though.
Carlos, sorry to bother you while drinking. You played at night, now it's very hot, the sun is shining. How different are the conditions?
Well, I thought it was going to be worse, honestly. But yeah, I'm feeling great. You know, the sun is hitting hard, at least for me. But yeah, I think I mean, I'm playing well. We playing great rallies. I feel in great movement. You know, on the heat again. So it's I think it's been a good games.
I think so too. Continue.
He impressed himself the other day, didn't he? He said early in the opening set against Alex de Minaur that he was very happy with the way he was playing. In fact, I'm impressing myself. It was a bit like Greg Norman, remember, at the British Open, where he said he was in awe of himself. Never lived it down.
And I reckon after that interview, we can surmise that everything's great.
Yep, he's pretty happy with the way things are going. He agrees with you that the person who's taking the temperature is a bit like wind predictor. It's wildly inaccurate sometimes.
15 love. Love.
Is the win predictor making a return to the Australian Open?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen they made a regular appearance during United Cup.
I hate that thing.
Why is that?
It's just ridiculous.
I love it. It's a great talking point. Generally, it's reasonably. I always think it's a little too strong in favour of the heavy favourite.
Well, like 98%.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's too strong. Two-horse race. But there's an algorithm. A lot of things get poured in at the top. Out pops a prediction. And that's your job.
Alcaraz.
Easy service hold there for Alcaraz, 4-2. That's your job as the expert, John,
Alcaraz
to argue
leads
against the win
4-2.
predictor or agree with it completely. And generally, I think we argue against it. That's good. So get used to that. You've got 2 weeks of win predictors.
No, I won't hold back either.
Hope the good folk who produce the win predictor aren't listening to our conversation here. So it is a practice match, but this is similar to what Alexi Popyrin experienced against Jannik Sinner. Got squeezed early, pressure building.
Love 30. Fifteen, 30. Net for service. Thirty all. Forty, 30. Yes. advantage, Popyrin.
Good elevation.
Popyrin.
Did well there. He was under pressure early in that service game. Holds Alcaraz 4-3 in the opening set.
Alcaraz leads 4 games to 3.
Let's have a look at the elevation here. Good view of Alexi as he defies gravity. Got some pop.
Alexi Popyrin just sucking in some water there. You've made, I think, a better clothing decision this time around. A couple of nights ago in the black, and it was pretty warm. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's still hot. No, but I definitely feel a little bit lighter on court now. But yeah, black wasn't the right choice last time.
He's come out firing, Carlos. Did you happen to have a chance to chat to your mate Alex de Minaur and get perhaps some tips? I know your team in the corner there, of course, would have worked with you in preparation, but did Alex give you any hints?
I actually didn't speak to him about the match, no. I saw him earlier today. He complimented me on my kit, but that's about it.
Mate, enjoy this next one.
Thanks.
What makes Carlos so dangerous on the grass
59.
courts and on all surfaces. In fact, his all-court game, so explosive. He's able to get so close to the net because he's such a dynamic mover. I was speaking to Alexi just before this one. He was going through his warm-ups with his trainer. And I asked him what he'd been up to for the rest of the earlier in the day. And he's actually had quite a large day. He was out on the practice court playing some practice sets against Casper Ruud this morning, followed up by a strength session.
30-15.
And now on to this practice match with Carlos Alcaraz. That'll probably be his last heavy day before he'll really start to taper it off. He's expecting to play Monday or Tuesday. A few more lighter days, perhaps find a lefty to hit with because he's up against a left-handed player in his first round.
when would they discover whether they're playing on Monday or Tuesday? Because from Friday, what do they do? Saturday, Sunday can make a difference if you're on Monday
15.
or Tuesday. Do they not until the draw comes out for Monday and they say, well, I'm not on it? Or
No,
they'll get a little heads up.
No, they'll get a heads up. So as soon as that draw was made, Craig Tiley and Wayne, they would have gone off into the office. They would be talking to broadcasters. They'd be fielding player requests. They would have already had a lot of player requests.
Alcaraz holds. 5-3.
And then they'll sort through what makes sense. There's also players that are still in competition now, in Auckland, in Hobart, in Adelaide.
So Novak standing in the workforce queue and now actually has to become part of the workforce as he gets run over by the water trolley. There's actually two lanes down there. There's the player lane and then the workforce lane, such as the traffic. There's screens everywhere downstairs and that checkerboard where you can watch what's happening, have a look at the draw, call times, etc., particularly once the full courts are in operation. Yeah, so do you take a ticket to get into Craig Tiley's office, or is there the hierarchy? Is it like business class, first class, and economy? You pick the express lane depending on who you are.
Certain players get that express lane ticket.
And do the players have to do that themselves, or is it their agent, representative, coach, etc.?
A bit of everything. Some of the players like to take that into their own control. Others will send their agent or their coach. Call upon a few favours if you need some. It's funny, Alexi Popyrin has drawn Corentin Moutet, a French left-handed player, and the lefties, as soon as the draw's out, the lefties become in high demand because you're scrolling through. You see you've got a lefty. Okay, what lefties can I organise these next few days? The worst matchup is a lefty versus a lefty because it rarely happens. And they really struggle to find hitting partners then.
$15.40.
What's the cutoff in terms of ranking, do you reckon, where the tournament director just rolls the eyes when there's a special request comes in?
Probably about 20. No, Craig's very accommodating. He does try to help out. It's the happy slam.
Game. Alcaraz.
Just dropped on the line, and that's the opening set with the break for Carlos Alcaraz. 6-3, 40 minutes. What was your favourite court here, if it wasn't here on Rod Laver Arena? Did you love the atmosphere on John Cain? Did you like to be on court 3 a little bit more intimate, and particularly late at night into the twilight where the atmosphere was at its extreme?
No, without a doubt it was show court 3. I loved that court. It's got a bit of a reputation for being the Australian court. When you see the order of play, it's normally dominated by the Australians. A really intimate setting. The fans feel like they're on the court. As we have a quick look at the set 1 summary. Alcaraz 6-3. He was too good in the end, wasn't he? Alexi Popyrin just allowing Alcaraz to get into too many of his service games with that low first serve percentage of 50%. Winners to unforced errors ratio favours the Spaniard. Alexi will want to tighten that up a little bit. He's been pretty clinical with his breakpoint opportunities, 2 from 3-1. Yeah, show court 3. Can't quite sit here. Obviously, there's the John Cain Arena. We got Kia Arena there, which is a newer court. I didn't ever get to play any matches on that. I've hit on it.
Beautiful court to commentate on, the sitting right on top. And here's some players just looking for some favourable draws, and they're on their way to Craig Tiley's office. I've got to say the red M&M looks a little flushed in the hot conditions. So there's some players just on their way to Craig Tiley's office looking for... I only play on Rod Laver Arena at night, says the green M&M. Not sure about that. It's just strolling underneath. We've seen them quite a bit. Players will be diving for cover.
When you're approaching to the Alexi Popyrin backhand, you've got to cover the line. Such is his swing. Comes from inside out. Is more effective in that one as opposed to getting around the outside edge of the ball. Doesn't really suit his swing shape.
Love 30.
Oh, it's a really nice backhand volley there.
15-30.
Puts a bit of extra slice on it. Cuts underneath the ball so it just dies when it hits the ground. Look at this. Cuts underneath it so that ball is rotating back to front.
All. $40-30. Game, Alcaraz.
A few loose shots there from Alexi Popyrin
First game,
after having an early advantage in that opening service game. So we go back to the opening set to take a look at some of the highlights, and Alcaraz in command of his game, no question about that.
And he got off to the hot start, didn't he? He got the early good break, and he's a very good front runner, is Carlos Alcaraz. Always looking to attack and go forward, finishing shots off at the net and dominate with that forehand.
15 left. Thirty left.
I think as we track this match and see Alexi Popyrin's first serve percentage, it has dropped a fair bit. It's only at 51%. His tour average last year in 2024 was 64%. So normally one of his best weapons has deserted him somewhat today. Oh, this is so well struck.
40-15.
It's probably my favorite shot in men's tennis at the moment, the Carlos Alcaraz forehand. Look at that extension through contact, 167 kilometers an hour. Some players will lead with their elbow at contact, have the flying elbow. Carlos actually adopts the more straight arm at contact, full extension, like a Juan Martín del Potro. The ones that can do it right, it's such a pretty sight.
Yes.
And what was looking like an easy hold has turned into a more challenging one, squandering 3 game points. And again, it's that first serve percentage. In this set, he's only made 2 from 6, so he's batting at 33%. Very effective when he lands it at 100%. And I think that might be an accumulation of the heavy load he's had today.
Advantage, Alcaraz.
What do you think of this forehand?
Well, it comes from virtually nothing. He just stands and delivers, and seems like he can go in either direction. But the power that's generated, so as you mentioned, 3 game points squandered. Early break for Alcaraz in the second set.
Alcaraz leads 2 games to love.
And of course, we haven't seen too many today, but it's what makes his drop shot so effective. Carlos Alcaraz drop shots quite often compared to the tour average. And the reason he's able to do so is people fear that forehand. Not only is it fast, but it's also heavy. So you almost have to cheat and give yourself a little bit more time.
$15 left.
You find yourself pulling yourself behind the baseline a meter or 2, which opens up the short drop shot.
$30 left. 40 love. Game, Alcaraz.
Easy service hold for Carlos Alcaraz. And to a 3-love lead in the second set.
3 games to love.
So he got the date of his US Open. He got the...
Joined by the coach of Alexi Popyrin now, Xavier Malise. Great to see you here. We love seeing you back at Melbourne Park every year. He's in a little spot of bother at the moment, your man. Carlos is playing well, though. What do you think of the match so far?
Yeah, it was a good start. They were both playing well. Carlos is actually, I think, feeling the ball really nice right now. And Alexi's maybe complaining a bit about the serve. The leg's a little bit heavy, but you know, that's his game too. He needs to serve well with the next shot after. But yeah, I mean, that's why you play these matches to see what's wrong and then work on it the next day. But we got to work on the serve. We've been working on it, and the next shot is sometimes a bit too big. So just kind of manage the game a little bit better. But besides that, I'm not not too worried about today's game. But we need to be ready by Monday or Tuesday.
I'm not sure how much you want to give away, but in terms of the serve, it's always been a weapon. So is it something technically that you've made in terms of adjustments?
We've shortened it up a little bit over the years. The toss needs to be more right for 2 reasons: more power, and also the other side can't read it, and sometimes it's too much above his head, and he doesn't have the power there. So that needs to be a bit more on the focus in the next couple of days. But so for the rest, everything it's pretty good.
So that's fascinating insights. I certainly wasn't expecting you to give us that much detail. In terms of the head-to-head, Corentin Moutet, it's not in his favour. A lefty, how's the preparation gone? Have you found enough lefties to hit with?
Yeah, we actually hit with a couple of lefties in the beginning of the week, and we got one for Sunday. So not easy to find, but yeah, I mean, he beat him the last time. I think it's with Moutet, it's not so much the tennis, it's more the staying calm and the mental side of it. But if he can do that, then should be okay. But it's definitely a challenge to stay calm with Moutet. Yeah.
Well, you know that your charger will have plenty of support in Australia, and all the best of luck.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Game, Popyrin.
So on the scoreboard in the second set.
Alcaraz leads 3 games to 1.
Saw a shot of that tattoo earlier, the Eiffel Tower poking out of the sock of Carlos Alcaraz. He's got the US Open date of his victory 2022 on an elbow, and he's got a strawberry as well, signifying his Wimbledon win. Room for the kangaroo, apparently.
Love 15.
That was really interesting hearing from Xavier about the few little technical adjustments they're making on the Alexi Popyrin serve. Goes to show that Even when you've got a strength, you can make it better. Talked about the matchup of Corentin Moutet. He's a bit of an entertainer, a bit of a showman is Moutet. Also, a bit of drama always follows him.
$30-15. $40-15.
Looking pretty easy to Carlos Alcaraz at the moment. So 4-1 in this second set.
Alcaraz leads 4-1.
The final opening week arena showdown is a tantalising matchup between Jannik Sinner, Stefanos Tsitsipas, the defending champion, versus a former runner-up. Tsitsipas looking for some improvement based on what we saw from him in 2024. Sinner, of course, winning 2 Grand Slam titles. Success on the court, a little bit of drama off the court for the Italian. And that's either a dance or a fitness workout move. That's different. I'm not sure Rod Laver did that in preparation for his matches back in the day. I'm still wiggling after seeing that.
Love 15.
And of course that was with Marco Panici, and if he looks familiar here at Rod Laver Arena, it's because he was the fitness trainer of Novak Djokovic. Now in Camp Sinner.
$30-15. 40-15.
Longest rally of the match, 18 shots. Followed by one of the shorter rallies of the match. Just looks a little leg weary there, not getting down to that half volley whatsoever. Relied on his hands, which went missing.
So Popyrin closes that service game out. He's had some difficulties doing so in his second set. Alcaraz 4-2.
Alcaraz leads 4 games 2-2.
You can see in the bottom left there, camp of Carlos Alcaraz, and I reckon they got the short end of the stick there.
Particularly in the corner in the sun.
You're going to be burnt tomorrow.
Yeah, he needs a hat on Carlos.
Juan Carlos Ferrero, I've hit with actually Carlos Alcaraz at Juan Carlos Ferrero's academy in Spain, a town called Villena. I've probably said that all wrong, but really interesting. Apparently in his career, that's brother Alvaro. The shades are on Juan Carlos Ferrero.
30 left.
And apparently throughout his career, even as a young fella, when he was making his money, he'd build a court in his backyard and then he'd get a little bit more money, he'd build another one, and over the course of his career, he'd managed to build up his academy. It's his pride and joy. Gets a great deal of Spanish players through the gates there. Pablo Carreno Busta. And Carlos Alcaraz highlighting the graduates.
Just clay courts or hard courts as well?
No, there's a few hard courts. There's a few outdoor hard courts, a few indoor
15.
ones. Got some padel courts. They've got accommodation on site. It's quite a place to go and train. And it's just down the road from Alicante. So Alex de Minaur and Carlos Alcaraz, when Alex was based in Alicante, would train together, sometimes in Alicante, sometimes in Villena.
Sergio.
That's a great return from Alexi Popyrin to bring up a breakpoint opportunity. This serve lacked a little bit of pace, only 141 kilometers, lands in the middle of the box. Because Alexi's so tall, you really have to get a lot more work on that to get it out of his strike zone. It didn't climb high enough, breakpoint.
Dios.
Of course, at this stage in the match too, if you're looking to get a bit of lift out of the balls, now you've got to notice that the court is fully covered with shade, and also this is the last they'll serve with these balls before the new balls, so they're at their most worn now. So the conditions aren't conducive to that extra kick or that extra spin. That's why in these types of conditions you'll see more of the sliding serves into the body on the second delivery. Let's see what he does. Well, he went for the quicker one there. That one there, 162 kilometres an hour. He was targeting the backhand hip of Alexi Popyrin. And it was that aggressive return before that drew that unforced error on serve.
Adios. Advantage, Popyrin.
So Popyrin, third time lucky with the break points, gets the break back. Alcaraz 4-3 and back on serve in the second set.
Alcaraz leads 4 games to 3.
Couple of double faults there from Alcaraz. Juice court. Did well on 2 of the occasions defending the break point, but that last one, Popyrin aggressive. He won't be happy with that, Alcaraz. He was well in command.
Yeah, it was pretty much stress-free until that game then. Alexi Popyrin, for this entirety of the match, prior to that game, had yet to create any breakpoint opportunities. But it came about with that slightly more aggressive mindset. Started really going after the second serve. And that put a little bit of pressure on the Spaniard. Drew a couple of double faults.
Grand Slam Oval will be absolutely heaving come Sunday, opening day of the opening Grand Slam of 2025. Take a look at the draw. This is the Alcaraz section. Alexander Shevchenko, we saw him at the United Cup playing alongside Elena Rybakina.
And a potential third round matchup with Australia's Jordan Thompson. We look to the top there, we've got Sebastian Korda, who is in the semi-finals of Adelaide. And right on that top line, Jack Draper, really talented, big serving left-hander from Great Britain. Although he is coming in under a bit of an injury cloud. He was meant to play the United Cup. We couldn't see him on the court.
Fifteen love. Net for service. Net. Love.
Well, he charged in, he jumped up and then he sent it wide.
Yeah, he needs to be a goldfish here. Wipe that one from the memory. No replays, please.
Service hole for Alexi. Squares things up in the second set now, 4 apiece.
4 games all. Net for service. Love. On. Thirty, 15. I
would like to see Alexi use his backhand slice then. He's floated this one because he was on the full stretch, but I'd love to see him use it in a more aggressive sense because he has got a really nice slice backhand just to try to keep it out of the Carlos Alcaraz strike zone.
Really keen to get the ball on the forehand here is Popyrin, and Alcaraz did power of work to stay in it, and then had the opportunity here. It was in the right spot.
I like that though.
Dios.
Uses the slice to change the pace and rips a backhand. Just disrupting the rhythm of the Spaniard.
Advantage, Alcaraz.
Well, it was good wheels by the big man. Look how late he holds on to that drop shot. Alexi did well to get the first one. Couldn't react quick enough for the second one.
Please. It's okay. Dios.
Excellent play from Alexi Popyrin. He now has a break point. Like previous service game, Carlos Alcaraz. He did very well, Popyrin, to even get some racket on that. Had to go into self-preservation mode. It was coming straight for the noggin.
Well, this is clay court tennis here, set up with the kick serve wide. Alexi committed early to try to run around. You don't want to be hitting forehands from 3 meters outside the doubles alley, I can tell you that much.
Advantage, Alcaraz.
Oh, isn't she happy with herself? Some good snaps, the Polaroids of Carlos. Might even get one signed.
Dios. Advantage, Alcaraz. Dios.
Got a little bit lucky here with this smash. Not quite out the middle.
Advantage, Popyrin.
Long service game here for Alcaraz. There we go. 10 minutes 19. Second break point opportunity.
Dios.
The first serve percentage is dipping. 56% for Alcaraz in the set and the match. He's had some troubles, hasn't he?
Advantage.
And there's a slight caveat on that, because he's mixed in what should be a higher percentage serve as first serves more often. He's hit that kick serve quite a fair bit, which should be a stock standard make, really. So that is really low, 55% for the match now.
Third break point. This was the one that Popyrin got in the previous service game. Now good return. The serve +1 from Alcaraz was sharp.
And it had to be, because he really hit that return with pinpoint accuracy, nice and deep, penetrating through the court. Alcaraz manages to get it at Alexi's toes, forcing him to play up and miss the volley.
Advantage, Alcaraz.
Just overruns this one. Alexi. He was there for it. Got there a little too quickly. Ends up jamming himself up, which forces him to push it wide.
Dios.
And we did hear in his previous exhibition match with Alex de Minaur, we heard Juan Carlos Ferrero make note that they had been working on the serve in the off-season, making a couple of little technical changes, trying to smoothen the transition up to contact. Does seem a little out of whack today.
Advantage, Alcaraz.
I love his decisive movement when he chooses to come forward. He hits and straight away he's getting forward with dynamic movement. Makes that volley so much easier.
It's a fifth game's point, and have a look at the celebration. It's as if he's won the tournament. I've finally held serve. And I'll leave 5-4.
Alcaraz leads 5 games to 4.
Well, they were bigger celebrations than when he won Roland Garros.
He's getting a little frustrated with himself. It was a good serve. It had a big kick. It was deep into the corner. And then have a look at this.
I just held serve in an exhibition. You beauty.
Well, you've got to celebrate the wins. Good spirit here. There's Carlos Alcaraz celebrating holding serve in an exhibition as if he's won the tournament. 8 juices, I think. He had 5 game points, defended 3 break points. Bragging rights only when you've been out in the court now for approaching the 2-hour mark. Both players probably thinking they've done enough out of this encounter. Popyrin pretty keen to hold serve, I would imagine.
15 up.
I wonder if it does get to 6-all. We play a normal 7-point tie break. Popyrin wins that and squares it up. Then we have a 10-point match tiebreaker. Tsitsipas and Sinner still to come.
Love. Thirty, 15. 40-30. Dios.
And Carlos has just raised his intensity ever so slightly in this return game. Looks like he wants to go in for the kill here.
Advantage, Popyrin. Dios. Advantage, Alcaraz.
Well, you're playing with fire when you approach the Carlos Alcaraz forehand. And that brings up match point.
So Alcaraz heads off to the Australian Open as a winner here against Alexi Popyrin. That was entertaining tennis, 6-3, 6-4. Perfect tune-up for both players. For Popyrin, an opportunity to test himself against one of the best. And for Alcaraz, well, he was a little frustrated in that second set, impressed with himself in the first.